Will the Maui County Council public hearing please come to order? Good evening, everyone. The public hearing on the proposed real property tax rates for the County of Maui effective July 1, 2024 will now come to order. Ms. Clerk, please proceed with roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Proceeding with roll call. If there are any members that are participating remotely, if you could please state who, if anyone except minors, is present with you as a part of roll call. Councilmember Pro Tempore Tasha Kama.
Good evening, Chair. And if staff could turn my camera.
Evening.
Councilmember Nohelani Uuhajins.
Excused.
Councilmember Shane Sinensi.
Aloha iahi kako.
And Council Chair Alice Lee.
Aloha mai kako. And I'm sorry, excuse me for a moment. I have a typo here. We're talking about the real property tax rates effective July 1, 2025. Right? Okay, Ms. Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. There are 7 members present. 2 are excused. And for the record, I am the County Clerk, Moana Ludi. Seated next to me is our Deputy Clerk, Rochelle Thompson. And our Legislative Division staff are also joining us. We have Lauren Saldana, Arthur Suyama, and Joyce Murashige. From the Office of Council Services is Director David Rotz and the Deputy Director, Rochelle Kawasaki. And from the Office of the Corporation Counsel, we have Christina Toshikio.
Before we proceed with the public hearing, may I please request that everyone keep their microphones muted unless it's your turn to speak. Before we proceed with tonight's public hearing, may I please request that everyone keep their microphones muted unless it's your turn. As a reminder, testimony must pertain to items on the agenda. When testifying, please direct your remarks to the council and not to any individual council member or member of the public. Each testifier will be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes on each item. For individuals wishing to testify on Teams, please click the raise your hand button to be added to the log. If you are calling in, please follow the phone prompts to be added to the testifier log. Decorum shall be maintained at all times. Any person who behaves in a manner that disrupts, disturbs, or impedes the orderly conduct of any council meeting can, at the discretion of the presiding officer or a majority of present council members, be ejected or banned from council meetings, or if participating remotely, muted or dropped from the meeting. Examples of disruptive behavior include, but are not limited to, heckling, shouting, use of profanity, threatening. Will the public hearing of April 22nd, 2025 please reconvene? It is now 6:10 p.m. Ms. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first testifier is John Pele, to be followed by Pamela Tumpap.
Aloha, council members, Chair Lee, good evening. John Pele from the Maui Hotel and Lodging Association, here to testify on the property tax rates. And I just got to say, I've been watching you guys. You guys are usually up on my screen in my office. And the next time I decide to complain about a long day, I will think about each and every one of you, because I really appreciate the work that you guys put in the days. Councilmember Paulton talking about writing things in her.
But I'm glad you fixed it now. I'm in a public space, and there are currently no testifiers at the Molokai District Office. Aloha, Mr. Pele.
Aloha, how are you, Councilwoman?
Mai ka'i mahalo.
Sorry about your flat tire today.
Okay, Member Paulton.
Mahalo for that.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Pele. The hotels provided a lot of shelter for the West Maui residents in the immediate aftermath of the fire. And so, personally, I won't forget that. I just had a question regarding, the hotel's contribution to the economy and whatnot. And I've had constituents in West Maui saying that previously, I think mostly pre-COVID, that a lot of the activities and things like that, a lot of local people used to run, like concierges would direct that business to our local small businesses. And I know a lot of them had shut down after COVID maybe, or, especially after the fire. But as they're looking to start up again, a lot of the hotels are consolidating that in-house now. And so they're not, they're keeping more of that revenue in these multinational companies that come into Maui, as opposed to more supporting the economic diversity of the county off of tourism, which isn't super diverse. But is there any policy or direction to be more involved in the local?
With getting occupancy up, because the bottom line for me as a representative is our employees who work in the industry, keeping them working. I come from the industry, right? I was a busboy to a general manager. I depended on my work, and just one day off of my schedule was tough. Some people just say, oh, you get 4 days instead of 5, no big deal. It's a big deal when people are missing just one shift. So,
Yeah.
but I can look at some of those. I wasn't aware, and I'll be honest that, I'm not aware of the vendor situation, but I can definitely find that out.
Yeah, it's easier to make the case to keep the rates low when they bring in that revenue to small locally owned businesses. But if the hotel is the employer for everything, and everyone else is just workers instead of small business owners, it's a little bit harder of a sell to keep the rates low. So just saying, help me help you.
Yes, definitely. I'll
But
take that.
not quid pro quo.
No, I got it. And I definitely, and I've heard the rate resistance thing, and, if I could share a little bit about that, and we know that in 2018 and 2019, we kind of overdid it. The industry overdid it, and we all admit that. We had probably from any other year, a decade before that, 500,000 or more visitors came to this island, right? Heads in the beds, sell it out. Then COVID hit, and we all understood socially, myself, that, hey, we kind of overdid it. Economically, it was a different story. I had both sides of the coin owning a restaurant on Molokai. I got shut down during COVID. So the rate resistance is, and we've heard this before, is value over volume, right? So you get higher rates, and that's the direction I think you'll see us going. You see us going, but we can't have both, right? You either got to have value or you got to have volume. It can't be both. So hopefully we can make some amends with that and work towards a better future for the visit industry and work together. We want to be part of the solution. I'm here. I want to be part of the solution. I'm standing in front of you guys, and I'm just all about being part of the solution, being community oriented. how can we be part of the solution? How can we prove ourselves to the community? So thanks.
Any more questions? Member Vice Chair Sugimura.
Good evening. So
Good
good
evening.
to see you. And I just want to say thank you very much for giving the visitor industry a voice, because it's good that you're here to testify. We have not heard a lot from them. So please.
Well, thank you for the
thank
opportunity.
those that
And
you
I
represent.
agree that we need to be more present and we need to be more upfront in sharing. Honestly, transparent.
Thank you.
Member Cook.
Thank you. My clarifying question, when you said keeping the rates up, is that keeping being able to be profitable with less occupancy, so we're not being overrun?
That's kind of what the message that was sent, right? So that's kind of like the vision that we have. I mean, and I know it's hard to swallow, but, honestly, you can't have both. Either we're going to put heads in the beds and have 3.5 million visitors on Maui a year, which we did in 19, which was pretty horrendous. I wasn't living here in 19, but I can tell from the feedback that I've received from the local residents that it was way too much. And some of our hotel properties, they admit that. We wholeheartedly embrace that.
Thank you. If you could look into the reinforcing the support for small businesses and the caterers and stuff, that'll go a long ways for the community. Thank you.
Absolutely, 100%. I'll get back to you on that.
Member Sinensi.
Mahalo, Chair, and mahalo, Mr. Pele, for your testimony this afternoon. You talked about quantity, and for us in East Maui, we're happy to host our visitors. However, in times of, we have one highway, right, road going in and out, and sometimes during emergencies, we want to sometimes close the road for safety reasons, or if we have county workers or state workers on the road, clearing the road. Have you been working with MEMA closely with the hotels to get the word out? Should we have any emergencies, that we don't want to just flood the east side with visitors, those are some of the challenges we get out in rural East Maui.
Yes, absolutely. And I really feel for your community, and I think you do a great job representing them. One thing that was put in place prior to my taking on this role was Lisa Paulson, who was my predecessor, and Naomi Cooper, who's my deputy director. During the disaster, they had a lot of time in the EOC, so they did set up policies like that. On a personal level, I have now started I'm on the Fire and Public Safety Commission for Maui County on a personal level. So it's kind of hard for me not to say that I don't mix MHLA with my fire commission duties, because I'm knowledgeable of it. So there is a chance for me now to bridge that gap even stronger. I attended my first meeting last week, Thursday. I think MEMA is doing an excellent job. They've done a great job I'm very impressed at the 5-year strategic plan that they've presented. And I can also bridge that gap, but yeah, definitely.
Sorry,
Member
one more.
Bolton.
Just the other point I wanted to say, the reason why most times I support keeping the rates static is that, in the conversation of short-term rentals and hotels, when there is a disaster, most every experience I have is the hotels open up their ballrooms for the residents. They take care of their own guests and even some residents. Whereas my experience in the fire is the short-term rental guests come and it's the community or the hub's responsibility to take care of them. So if you could take that message back, that we appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot.
Thank you. Any more questions? Pro Tem Kama.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. And you're right, I forgot that you're in the Fire and Safety Commission. But are there others in the industry doing similar type work that you do who could potentially sit on other boards and commissions?
Oh, definitely. There's people, I encourage everybody to sit on the board and commission. I think it's part of our public and civil duties. Whether they want to or they want to embrace it is a different story. But as far as, I'm in this position now, and I'm always going to represent this position as long as I'm in it, right? So everywhere I go out in the community, that's what I mean when I say I bridge the gap.
Yes.
Hopefully, I can shed enough light on items, and I can conduct myself in a way that people can trust me and believe in what I say. That's the end goal for me, is
Yeah,
to
we
be
need
as transparent
clones.
as possible.
We need clones. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, John. Good to
Okay,
see you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. And let the record show that Councilmember Nohe Uuhajens is also present.
Aloha, Chair.
Hi.
Chair, the next testifier is Pamela Tumpop, to be followed by Royal House of Hawaii.
Pam, are you there? Pam Tumpop. We're going to have to move on to the next one. She is?
You're unmuted on our end. Pam, we'll come back to you. Moving on to Royal House of Hawaii. Please go ahead.
Aloha, sorry, can you guys hear?
Yes.
You guys can, is it going through? Oh, okay. Aloha, I'm here to testify about the real properties taxes, AKA the royal patents, the original boundaries and the metes and bounds that the illegal state manipulated and turned into their own tax map key and Hawaii Revised Statute 172-11, the original titles of that land, which are the royal patents. If the land is supposed to be going back to them, you guys can do a title search and a parcel history with the tax map key office. They'll give you all the heirs. Then you will find the true descendants of that land, and you guys got to do due diligence to go and find those descendants and the heirs. And because Hawaiians, they know, and us Hawaiians, we know all the solutions to everybody's problems that is happening. And I'm pretty sure we're able to fix all of that and help it for the benefit of all people. Kamehameha 3 made it for all people to be free over here when everybody made them for, to our stands. We are not these people that are going to be evicting all of these people. We want to work in a whole for all of the community, for Ahupua'a, for our waters to come back and flow again, how we saw it, for clear water to be flowing everywhere, clear water, clean. And we need to start doing that already. We're turning this planet into Mars, and all of us Hawaiians are related on the walking royals. They teach us in school that they ended the royals for the land ownership, when in reality, we're the descendants of those royals. And it is time to step forth and bring us back to the table, because we've been saying it for many for many years already. And we know what is best for over here. And yeah, thank you so much for hearing me out. And please follow the laws with the real properties, and call up all the descendants and all the beneficiaries to every single royal patent on the islands. Ahuiho, Keapuapu, God bless you guys.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No questions. Thank you. May we have the next testifier?
Chair will return to Pamela Tumpop.
Aloha, thank you so much. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, fantastic. And thank you for your tremendous time and effort tonight. Excuse me. I wanted to focus on two categories: owner-occupied real property taxes and non-owner occupied. And the reason I want to focus on these categories tonight is given our housing crisis and our need to protect local homeowners. So, property in Maui is extremely valuable, and the median home prices are continuing to go up. So that we created a premise based on our 2019 housing forum, where we looked for a way to project out what was going to happen in housing prices in the future. And many people said, you really can't do that. Changing interest rates, changing market conditions, et cetera, it always goes up and down. And that's true. But we looked for a model. And the model we found was through a cousin of mine who's a mortgage broker, and we used the reverse mortgage scenario that you often see with seniors, where they have to project out what the home value might be when that person passes away, and how to project that out. And at the time, they used a 6% interest rate. And since it was a forum, and I didn't want to shock everybody, and since this model hadn't really been used, we used a very low interest rate of 4%. And I said at the time we would be wrong. In fact, we would be low. But using that 4% model, the median home price, starting back in 2019, which had been at about $875,000 median home price, we realized that projecting it out several years, by 2024, we would be looking at over $1.2 million median home price. And of course, we've exceeded that. And by 2042, we would be looking at over a $2 million median home price. So I met with Councilmember Sugimura, and I have met with, I talked to the mayor about this concept that I'm going to share with you, and I talked to Marcy, and I appreciate that the mayor raised the owner-occupied first tier to 1.3 million and under. However, the challenge we have is that we already hit 1.295 million just in this past March. So the 1.3 is still low. So we recommend that low tier on owner-occupied, the first tier being 1.5 million and under, because we're talking about our local homeowners. And we know, history has shown, and again, at that 4% interest rate, we're going to see skyrocketing over the next few years. And many people who are investing in Maui, are always saying that our real property tax is really low. And we'll talk about that in non-owner occupied. But for owner occupied, what we want to do is raise that rate. They're still going to pay based on their valuation. And we appreciate the discounts the mayor proposed for local residents, because valuations are still going up. But we want to broaden the gap for the different tiers. So then the second tier for owner occupied, we would like to be $1.5 million and $1 to $5 million. And broaden that gap. Again, these are local owner-occupied homes. And then over 5 million. So at the second tier, we are okay again with all the rates. We just want to widen that gap for local homeowners. Now on non-owner occupied, this is where we feel we can make money.
Pam, can you conclude in 30 seconds?
Okay, yes. So on non-owner occupied, we feel we can make money for housing. We would like tier one, we would like to leave the tiers as they are, increase the rates on tier 1 to $8, the second tier to $12, and the third tier to $18, which will help reduce outside investment and help us raise additional money so that we can help subsidize affordable housing and rentals.
Thank you. Questions, members? Member Paulton.
Can you repeat that last one where the third tier was $18? What was the first and second tiers and the spread?
Yes, it would be my pleasure. So because again, these are non-owner occupied, the 1 million and under, the mayor kept the rates the same. We'd like to generate more revenue, so we are looking for 1 million and under to be $8, which is an increase of $2.13. We would like the 1 million to 3 million, as he proposed, to be $12, which is an increase of $3.50, and over 3 million to be $18, which is an increase of $4 over what's proposed.
Thank you. And then were you completely finished with your recommendations before the time ran out?
No, but if I may share just a little bit more, and I'll be brief. Basically, and also I want to note that, again, if locals are renting out their homes, as long-term rentals, then they would not fall under this non-owner occupied category. They would fall under the long-term rentals category. So they still would have favorable pricing. But the goal is to really look at the non-owner occupied. They do not contribute to the community in the same way local owners contribute to the community. If somebody is occupying their unit for 6 months or more, then they are owner occupied. So we're really talking about raising the rates on people who truly aren't living here full-time, not contributing in the same way, spending their dollars in, of course, as you mentioned earlier, restaurants and retail and, groceries and supporting local agriculture in the same way, buying local produce. So this is where we find a way to raise more money and then help subsidize owner-occupied a little bit more, but still garnering considerable income. But now, again, I don't have the real property tax data to show how many units are in each tier and all the details on that. We'd be happy to help work on that, but I know that obviously is going to be consideration as we look at doing this, to look at the offsets of how much additional money we would actually be making with these tiers when you look at how many properties fall under the different valuations.
Okay.
And thank you for asking the question.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify because I was a little tiny bit distracted. Did you have recommendation for timeshare? Did you say something about that?
No, we are looking into the timeshare, but we were really focused just on the owner-occupied and non-owner occupied rates at this point.
Thank you.
Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Ms. Tupac. Thank you for your testimony. I really appreciate your suggestions. In fact, one of them nailed it on the head for one of my proposals was the Tier 3 non-owner occupied raising it up to $18. So great minds think alike on that one, Ms. Tupac. And that's all I got. Thank you so much, Chair.
Okay, any other questions?
I just want to thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Pam, may we have the next testifier?
Chair, the next
Thank you. Aloha.
testifier is Eric Pung.
Is Eric? Okay. And after that, the next testifier after that?
Will be Rochelle Thompson.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Eric Pong. I'm a little unprepared. Marcy told me come and talk tonight. So I'm a resident of Spreckelsville, third generation. We've owned our property for 60 years, and our property taxes keep on going up. Our assessment doubled this past year, and I think a rate hike would not help on top of assessments doubling. So it's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Anything else? Marcy, you're talking about Marcy Martin?
Yes.
Okay. Member Paulton, then Member Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Pong. Pung. I just wanted to clarify, so you're talking about your home that you own and
Yes,
you
owner
occupy it?
yes.
Okay.
We own one home.
Thank you. That was my clarifying question.
Member Johnson.
Chair, that was my clarifying question as well.
Okay. Anybody else with questions? Member Hudgens.
I don't really want to discuss the details with you and ask where you live on the floor, but can I give you my card and maybe we can talk stories?
Yes.
Thanks.
So I live on Stable Road.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've been there 60 years. I think we're the oldest residents in Spreckelsville now. We're Hawaiian, third generation. My daughter will be the fourth generation to own that property. We have one long-term rental on our property. And if our rates go up, I mean, we're going to have to increase our rent. So, I mean, it's just more unaffordable long-term rentals.
Okay, thank you.
So-
Before you leave though, I'll have like one of my staff members meet you outside and then he'll give you my card and maybe we can talk
Okay.
stories. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh, one more question, Mr. Pong.
Oh, sorry.
Member Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Pong. My clarifying question, did you say that your assessment doubled?
Yeah. So we qualify for the circuit breaker, and I think without the circuit breaker is like 6 to 12, and then with the circuit breaker it jumped back down to 6. So, yeah.
May I ask what it was and then what it became?
3. Well, it was 6, and then it was, the circuit breaker is 3. So
the circuit breaker helped?
it helped, yeah, but still, I mean, if it doubles every year, it doesn't really help, right?
No, okay.
So my assessment doubles and the rate goes up, that's ridiculous.
I hear you.
So, I mean, I don't think the rent that I can charge can keep up with that.
So may I ask, like in what you've seen, like over like the last 5 years, is it been like kind of steady and now just jacked up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been kind of steady like at 3, so, which is fine.
So my further clarifying question, has there been sales in your neighborhood? Is there a lot of people buying and selling and doing stuff?
Yes, so no one's putting on the MLS, they're knocking on people's doors. So the latest sale, I think, was 17, but it was to a man named Scott Hassan, and he's the 4th employee at Google. Basically knocked on someone's door, said, what do you want for your property? So people like us, we eat that, which isn't fair.
No, it's not.
So, and it's not fair that Hawaiians are going to get taxed out of their property.
I completely agree. Thank you, sir, for your testimony. We'll
Thank
work
you.
on it.
Yep.
I know it's going to meet you outside. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the next testifier?
The next and currently last, we have 2 more testifiers, Rochelle Thompson, to be followed by Tom Crowley.
Wow.
Hi, everyone. Rochelle Thompson testifying on my own behalf, and I won't log. This is county time. I wanted to just very briefly let you know about my own personal situation. I own a vacant parcel of land in Makawao. It's zoned R3, so residential 3. I'm in the process of going through the building permit process, but as you know, it's, a couple of years, probably minimum. And what you may not know, I'm not sure if you all know this, but vacant real property in the R3 zone or in the residential, any of the residential zones, is taxed at non-owner occupied. So that's a really high tax rate. And, I just wanted you to be aware of that. If you don't know about that, the ag zone property is taxed at its underlying zoning, so it's taxed at the ag rate. I believe hotel zone land, vacant land in the hotel zone is also charged a hotel zone rate. But residential is just one of those weird ones that I appealed it last tax season and was not successful. The true fix is a change to the Maui County Code to figure out how do you want to tax vacant real estate. So, in whatever zone, do you follow zoning or do you create, put it into one of the tax classes specifically? Right now, the default is non-owner occupied, and it's a pretty hefty bill. So that's all I have.
Member Cook.
Thank you. My clarifying question, do you have water? Is there a water meter in your lot?
Yes.
And have you owned it long?
Since 2017.
So, wow. And you don't qualify for any homeowner exemptions because there's no home.
There's no home, yeah. Exactly. There's no home on that particular parcel yet.
Do you have you spoken and gotten any advice or suggestions for a change?
In my old job, I would have helped, one of the council members draft an amendment to the Maui County Code to fix it.
Okay.
That's the true fix.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Member Hodgins.
To clarify, in my old job, I would have helped you get a permit. But in my current job, I can still help you get a permit. Can you please let us know and we can talk stories?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? Questions? If not, thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the next testifier is Tom Crowley, and he will be followed by Gary Saldana.
Okay, Tom. Hello.
Aloha, Council. You know that you were going to hear me here. I heard you all giggle when my name came up. I hope that you got the messages that I sent today with some testimony. And if you have questions for me about that testimony, I'd be happy to field them now. But right now we're talking about the rates across the board. And I want to make one thing really clear, if I haven't made it clear in all my other testimony. Us 146 owner-occupied residents of Maui deserve to be treated like every other owner-occupied resident of Maui, and we deserve the same tax rate as the owner-occupants. We will not get our homeowner exemption. You can't restore that without changing the code, but you can fix the error, if you ask me, that's been made by discriminating against us and acting like we are not residents of Maui living in our own homes as everyone else gets treated in that way. So I hope that you've heard that. The other rates, I really liked what I heard Pam say about changing the first tier in owner occupied to 1.5 million. I agree with that from the standpoint of my property, which is a nice property in Maui Meadows, but not a luxury property, has now gone up to an assessment of 1.75 million. And my taxes have doubled in the past couple years. So we really should be protecting people's homes where they live. And that first tier should be designed to do that. The last tier, I agree with her that should be 5 million and over for both owner occupied and for all the categories. And that tier, well, I think you do have a right to hit that tier hard if you want. Okay, what we've been hit with in the commercialized residential might seem like it's not so bad, but it has doubled my property taxes in the past 2 years. Last year, it was a 30% increase that I faced. And I'm glad to hear that the hotels are weathering the storm by raising their rates. I didn't do the same, but I can tell you this. I had empty B&B rooms in my house for the last month. Nobody, zero, no business. My business is off 40% since the fires, okay? So I'm not crying the blues to you, but I'm saying we do have a fundamental problem here with visitors aren't coming anymore. Lots of cancellations from the Canadians, lots of cancellations from the Europeans, and it's hard to get by. So please don't tax me out of my home. Let's set the rates for all residents of Maui who live in their own homes uniformly across the board, and I would appreciate you doing that. I also sent you something later today about if you do find you're short, okay? Look at 1 penny. Look at how much revenue you can raise by just 1 penny more in the rates across the board. Okay, you can get almost $1 million out of 1 penny. 10 cents, you can get almost $8 million or more than $8 million out of raising the rates across the board by 10 cents. That won't bankrupt anybody. But taking my rate and tripling it from what I would be as a homeowner, that does bankrupt us. So please hear my plea and do the right thing by the commercialized residential B&B owners. Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Tom. Questions? No questions. Thank you very much.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Chair, the next testifier is Gary Saldana.
To be followed by?
Eva Tantillo, who is the last testifier.
Gary, are you there?
I'm here. Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, council members. My name is Gary Saldana. I'm testifying as an individual tonight. I'm not testifying as a private property owner. In the mayor's budget highlights, he notes real property tax relief. No increases are proposed for any category, with owner-occupied properties seeing a reduction. With all due respect, this statement by the mayor is totally misleading. Even though the property tax rate for owner-occupied is being proposed to be reduced, he says nothing about how our assessed values have skyrocketed over the last year, which in turn results in real property tax increases, not real property tax relief. For example, my assessment increased 36% from last year. With the mayor's proposed property tax rate, our tax will increase 46%, which translates to nearly a $500 increase. Furthermore, I'm not the only victim of huge increases in assessment value. As you've heard tonight, homeowners have experienced such increases as 50% to 70% in 1 year. The assessment increases makes no sense to me because in March 2024, the median home price was $1.29 million. Accordingly, in March of 2025, the median home price is $1.295 million. Over the last year, the median price of a single-family home decreased by a negative 0.3%. Yet, during that same period, my assessment increased 36%. How is this fair? Furthermore, with potential cost increases in every aspect of life resulting from the proposed tariffs, The escalation in real property tax will make the already high cost of living in Maui overburdensome to the working class struggling to make ends meet. Additionally, despite the mayor's increase in property tax, or decrease in property tax rate, the proposed certified revenue for FY26 owner-occupied category is proposed to increase $6.4 million over the FY25 certified revenue, which translates to a 17% increase in revenue from our owner-occupied residents. What makes this painful is the proposed hotel resort certified revenue for the same period is increasing only $3 million, which translates to a mere 6% increase in certified revenue.
Time.
I ask the question, why are locals being penalized? What I would ask is the council to respectfully investigate why the Department of Finance has decided to make up for lost time by increasing our assessments by such a drastic amount in 1 year versus gradual increases over a longer period of time. And then finally, I would also request the council to consider lowering the owner-occupied tax rate or increasing the homeowner's exemption to offset the mayor's huge increases in assessed values. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Gary. Questions, members? If not, thank you very much.
Chair, the next testifier is Eva Tantillo.
Hello.
Looks like
Can't
you're
hear you.
muted
Can't
on
hear you.
your end. There's a microphone button at the top right of your screen, and it may have a line across it, and you just need to click on that to release that line.
Doesn't see it. You want to explain to her how she can call in?
If you'd like to try calling in, I can give you that information if you've got a pen. So you can call in, it's 808-977-4067, and then you'll enter the code 234-794-559, and then pound sign.
I don't think she wrote down that part.
I'll read it
But,
out.
okay, so if you like, you can mail in your testimony, okay? Or email it to us. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
The email address to send that to is county.clerk@mauicounty.us.
Can I repeat that one more time?
county.clerk@mauicounty.us.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have another testifier?
Chair, there is no one else signed up to testify, so we'll go ahead and give last call for testimony. If anybody on the meeting on Teams wishes to testify, please raise your hand. Anybody in the chamber, make your way to the podium. Chair, seeing none, we'll count down 3, 2, 1. There is no one else to testify.
Members, any objections to closing public testimony? Okay, this meeting is recessed until, let me check.
Chair, it will recess.
Until May 13th at 11 a.m. Okay? This meeting is in recess.